It has not happened.
That's why I've told you, people who are discussing this report, I think it is premature. Because the things that people were talking about, the issues Kenyans were conversing, the issues that really were at the heart. You remember when we went for the constitutional review process that yielded the constitution of 2010?
2010, yes.
There are issues that were so clear.
Yes.
A good number of them were handled in the current constitution,
Yeah.
though not conclusive.
Yes.
But in this time, like you said, it was about the structure of government, the cost of government, and the things related to that, none of which was attended to. The MPs remained as many as they were.
With the Senate that is only there in name.
The constitutional bodies being there,
yes,
duplicating things, allowing the executive to muzzle them, and yet consuming resources. The structure of the executive remained the same, with an even more imperial president. So that leads me to believe this is not the report. That in the next phase we shall now get the report.
So this, according to you, is the beginning of
a
conversation.
It was put in such a way that it would invite debate.
Why do you say this is going to change fundamentally this country? Because when we had the 2010 constitution, we said this is phenomenal, it's going to change this country for posterity, fundamentally change this country for posterity. When we got the IPPG,
yes, the same.
The same. When every time we are up to something, when we got the coalition government of 2008, we said we were going to change this country forever.
Yes.
You see what I mean? The future of this country, we might have come through some hard experiences and history, but sometimes it is worth the price.
Yes.
The country will be better for good. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, this question has been raised by many people.
Yes.
We have the Constitution, we have many reports, Kriegler report, TJRC, Ndongo report, John, many reports, none of them. And they are very, very, very serious recommendations.
Absolutely.
The answer is simple. You see, let's take, for example, all these reports. They depend on the goodwill of those in power to implement. So long as those in power are not willing to implement the TJRC and others, they will not be implemented. And basically it's because commissions are set to cool the temperatures. When things are hot, establish a commission, people keep quiet, they ventilate, then the report is shelved. A constitution is a smoke screen. A constitution is a document that makes the led to believe there is government that is working for them, and that it will work according to certain dictates and arrangements. So that's why, unless again it has good implementers, it may not go far. Now, why is the BBI different? Why is the handshake different? The BBI, according to me, is a political infrastructure to achieve a certain goal. And so long as Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga remain committed to what I think they wanted to do, the BBI will be the infrastructure they need to do it, and therefore it will work. That explains why they must mind and care who becomes president in 2022. Because the kind of fundamental things they want to bring on board cannot be executed unless at least one of them is in power, but ideally both of them in power. So BBI will work because it is something that Uhuru and Raila want to use to change something fundamental in this country. And if you care, I will tell you. If you don't care, I will tell you. If you don't mind. You see,
proceed.
There are certain things we scat around in this country. Nations that come face to face with those things that affect them and don't shy away always will progress. This country is defined by one major problem. The problem of a community that feels betrayed and persecuted, and the other community that feels entitled. So unless you address that fundamental problem, anything else in this country will never work. I believe, watching and listening and reading the statement that these guys issued after the handshake, I've read it and reread it. I have followed it. I have come to the conclusion it is that bit they want to address. Because once you address that, betrayal and entitlement, this country will move forward. And BBI is that infrastructure that allow them to do that. And therefore, when the real BBI report comes out,
how will that solve the problems of this country? Because people in this country have suffered much more than that community that you claim has been betrayed.
Correct.
The North has suffered more than Luo Nyanza.
Yes, yes, yes.
The East has suffered, part of the East, particularly the Lower East, has suffered big time. The West has never been any better than Luo Nyanza.
The suffering.
Now when you're the Turkanas up there have been suffering, and they still suffer the scourges of starvation. They cannot get food. They die of hunger and starvation. When there's a government that's ideally supposed to make sure that there's an element of food security. The entitlement as well as the betrayal comes out of the original politics we had in the country.
Yes, yes.
The very first time when we were getting independence, there was the issue of the big tribes and the small tribes.
Yeah.
The big tribes were the Kikuyus and the Luos.
Yeah.
And the small tribes were all the others headed by the Luyas.
Masinda Muliro,
Ngala, Moi, all of them.
Yeah.
And in that election, the small tribes lost. Every time there's a discussion on cohesion coming together, you realize Raila has one catchword: the founding fathers of this country.
Yes.
He only has two people in mind, by the way.
Yes.
Kenyatta.
and that's what I'm telling you.
And Jaramogi.
If you sort out that problem.
Hang on a minute, let me tell you. And Jaramogi.
Yes.
What is going to stop these other ones right now seriously ganging up together and saying, we have been betrayed all this time? Right now, it's like, if I can get the Luos on board, and the Luos and the Kikuyus can have a certain harmony, then Eureka.
Yes.
The problems are solved. You have the solution to Kenya's future. But that's not the case. It's not as easy as that. And we have seen it right now since the handshake. All the appointments that were made outside the mountain region were literally in Luo Nyanza.
Yes.
The feeling of betrayal on the part of all the other communities is profound today as we talk. So how do you say, how then under those circumstances do you narrow down this thing to only the betrayal and the entitlement? And if those two can be then more or less harmonized, and those two can be negotiated, there is a rapport between the two, then you have no problem in the country.